Welcome to a special summer bonus episode of the Food Professor Podcast, recorded live in our on-site podcasting studio at the SIAL Food Innovation Show in Toronto.
Over 3 great days in May, Sylvain and I met dozens of food innovators and thought leaders. These are their stories.
I'm sure you will enjoy hearing these incredible interviews as much as we enjoy hosting the conversations. Stay tuned for Season 4 of the Food Professor Podcast, Canada's top food industry and Canadian-produced independent management podcast, when we return live on the mic Thursday, September 21st.
Well, gentlemen, welcome to the Food Professor Podcast here at the SIAL show. Carl Boutet, my dear friend, thank you for bringing my guest, Santiago, here with you. How are you, Carl? You've been traveling. Let's talk to you for a little bit. How are you?
Well, I mean, everywhere I go, you're there, Michael. I mean, this is like the third time in feels like 3 weeks. It's been longer than that, but it just... Wherever I go, you're there, brother. I mean, I appreciate... I mean, you're probably tired of talking to me, so that's why I said I have somebody I want to bring with me that's a lot more interesting than I am.
Never. Well, I was in your hometown last week, actually. I was in Montreal for the day, kind of passing through. So you and I go back a long time. The audience on the Food Professor may not know you. We'll get back to a little bit about you. Santiago, tell us about yourself. Who are you and what are you doing here? This is the SIAL show in Toronto. You're fresh off the airplane, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, no. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm very happy to be at Toronto for the first time. What about me? I'm a Colombian entrepreneur. I've been working for 10 years in the food tech industry. We created the first university marketplace in Latin America. We reached 100,000 different customers in 4 countries. But for the last 3 years, we are in a new mission, and our goal is to develop the premade food category in Latin America. This is crazy to hear, but Latin America produces 14% of all the world's food.
14%?
14%.
Wow.
But we only have 2% in installed capability to transform the food. So it's crazy because we export everything like raw products.
It's not unlike Canada, because the criticism sometimes for Canada is we take an abundance of product and we give it to someone else who adds value, and then they sell it back to us.
That's exactly what happens in Latin America. So our mission is to develop the pre-made food industry so we can first start having great products locally, but also exporting these products all around the world. It's crazy, but Colombia, it's a 5-hour flight here to Toronto.
Yeah.
But there's only one Colombian in the entire show besides me.
Yeah?
With a small booth. Huh. But there are like 40, 50, 60 stand booths from all around other countries such as Taiwan, very far away. So it's crazy. It's crazy to know and to see that Latin America has a great opportunity, but it's not outside.
Yeah.
No one knows about
it. Well, the SIAL show is a perfect venue for international, both countries and companies. And you're a distributor, not a manufacturer, you're telling me off mic, right? So you don't make the product, you just find amazing product and help bring it to the world, right?
Yes. We partner with awesome local producers with them because our goal is to make them global. They have great product market fit in the local market. They have great production capabilities. They have great products, but they only sell to their local community. So our goal is to bring these local products all around the world.
Fantastic.
Another example of them is Franui.
Yeah, so I'm going to taste this product, Franui. So tell me about this product, because I've already had one, and it's pretty wonderful. But tell me a little bit about this product. I'll put for those folks who are listening, I'll put a picture and a link in the show notes to the product. But tell me about the product, and I'm going to try one or 5
Awesome, yes. And Franui, it's a product from the south part of Argentina, from La Patagonia.
Oh my goodness, it's so good.
Yes.
Okay, describe this for the listeners.
Yeah, so it's raspberries, frozen raspberries, covered with 2 types of chocolate, milk and dark chocolate. It's a handcrafted product with fresh raspberries that's frozen, and it's #1 top sell products in every retailer that would take it. It's crazy.
I don't think I've had anything quite like this. Very fresh. Carl?
The closest thing we have in Quebec is we do the blueberries dipped in dark chocolate, but they're not frozen, so you don't get that cold. Like you get that first, like that refreshing cold. It's almost like it's a frozen treat, right? It's a nice, almost like an ice cream sort of but it's fresher, and the chocolate, the idea of combining the chocolates, I think is really interesting as well. It's the first time I see a fruit double dipped in a chocolate like that.
And how did you connect with Santiago? What's your role in all this?
One of my mysterious global travels.
Who are you, and what are you doing here?
We'll get back to who am I, but how I ended up. I was speaking at a conference a year and a half ago, I guess already, in Cartagena. I was invited by a friend out there that organizes conferences to speak at a pharmaceutical event that had nothing to do with this, but his business partner, Matteo, his co-founder, was there because his wife worked for that pharmaceutical company. And he's like, I saw you on LinkedIn, and can I talk to you, because we're starting up these things. We're in dark kitchens, and we were doing other food tech stuff. I was like, oh, really interesting. And he's like, we got this new platform we're trying to launch. And so I said, great, so let's keep in touch. And then I was back in Bogota with the same conference organizer, but this time for an omni-channel, a broader retail, where I keynoted. And I let the guys know, I said, I'm back in Bogota, and let's meet up again. And so we ended up, we didn't end up meeting right at the beginning, but his team brought me to a soccer match. I know you're a soccer fan, so we got to go to the soccer match. And on the way to
I hear that's big in where you come from.
Yes, it's like the most played sport in Colombia.
Yeah.
It's part of our culture.
It was a crazy game too, because it was Bogota against Bogota, like the two local teams facing off. So it was a pretty insane. But let me just wrap up the Fernui story part of that. So they start saying we have this product Fernui, and I'm like, oh great. He's showing me a picture. He goes, would you like to taste it? And we're in a pub where you're supposed to be before a soccer match.
Yeah. Where else would you be?
In Bogota. And I said, well, I don't really want to go to a convenience store. I don't want, I'd like to taste it, but I'm not that hard up. And he goes, no, I can have it here in 10 minutes. So I said, what do you mean 10 minutes? I thought he had one of his friends or somebody that would bring it over.
Yeah.
And he just picked up his phone, opened the Rappi app, which is like the Uber Eats or whatever they have there, which actually is much bigger and much better.
Yeah.
And they have 10-minute delivery. And basically, I had this exact same container that you have in front of you. In
10 minutes.
Actually, 8.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. The actual delivery time for Rapid Turbo, it's 7 minutes since you order to the products in front of your door.
7 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
And are you involved in Rapid Turbo, or talk about all the different things you're doing?
Yes, we partner with them to develop their pre-made food and frozen category.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, so we do manage some of the inventory frozen foods in their stores.
Okay.
But it's a crazy experience. 7 minutes average delivery time anywhere in any of the 6 main cities in the country.
Wow, it's kind of that's a tough business model, though, right? I mean, fast, rapid delivery. Who is it in the States, like a GoPuff, which does, it started on the campuses of universities, which is very concentrated, but it takes a lot of concentration to make that model work, right?
Yes. The advantage that we have in South America is the cost per hour for a delivery man is a lot cheaper than in the US. So you can have lots of delivery guys handling just one order when the order arrives.
Right.
And so there's in motorcycles around the city. You have a store every 2 miles. So they are super close. You are always super close to a store.
And for the listeners who may not know, tell me about your city. Tell me about your country. How many people? I want to get to talk about agriculture because we're a food show. But where you're from, how many people are there, and talk about what's going on.
Okay, I'm from Colombia. It's the most beautiful country in the world. It's in South America, in the north part of South America, where almost 50 million people living there.
Okay. What's the age demographic? Like, one of the things that occupies our time a lot here in Canada is that we're not we're getting a bit older as a country,
yes.
right? But my impression is that it's a younger country.
Yes, we don't have an inverted pyramid. Most of the population is concentrated between 15 to 28, 29 years. Like 30% of the population is there, so we're still a very, on average, young population.
Yeah, which helps for drivers of product and 7-minute delivery, right? Because you can find people.
Yes.
So from an agriculture perspective, you said this. I think you said this from Argentina.
Yes.
Argentinian chocolate.
Yes.
And strawberries.
Yes.
Raspberries.
Raspberries. So how did you find it? Like, how did you? What's your process? How do you find products like this?
Yes. So our main goal is to find top products, like crazy local products that have excellent product market fit that everyone loves in their local community. And those are the products that we target to find, and we partner with their producers to take them globally. So it's about that whoever tastes it reacts like you just react like, oh, this is awesome, or it's different.
Fantastic product. So when you think of this, you're here in Canada. You've got Carl kind of beside you, as kind of a, to explain the market or to kind of introduce you to the market. What's your approach to, getting into these larger markets with very new product? What's the kind of steps you're taking?
Okay, so the most important thing is the cold supply chain. And this is a problem that we also have in South America. In fact, we had to build our own cold supply chain in Colombia. Our warehouses, our first mile delivery guys, our micro-fulfillment and cross-docking stores, everything, because it's a category that is not appropriately, is that a word? Appropriately developed in the world. It's very hard. It's crazy, but we've talked with 2 distributors here in the show, and both, like, the biggest pain is the cold supply chain. We don't know, and we haven't found how to manage minus 18 degrees Celsius products around the country. So that's the big barrier of access to the market and to the product. How will we handle, and how we will use technology to handle deliveries and to handle the supply chain in an efficient way.
So you talked about walking around the show, and there's kind of one small presence for Colombia, but not much. I mean, there's opportunity. But what as you're walking the show, you're looking for distributors, looking for partners. What's your objective for being here? Talk a bit about that.
Yes, we're looking for partners that already know the sales channels and that want to help and partner with us to bring great Latin American products to the North American market.
Right.
We're starting in Canada and not in the US because of the volume that we need in the US is much higher, and we think it's
a good place to learn too, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're not so different. The volumes are a bit smaller, and
exactly.
And you've been here before too. You were telling me off mic, or you've been to the western part of the country.
Yes, you have a beautiful country. Also, Banff, it's beautiful. Calgary.
Maybe it reminds you a little bit about home. The mountains and all that stuff.
Yes, beautiful sightsees and mountains, everything.
So a great experience here at SIAL would be to find a few people to talk about becoming distributors for the product. Now, how many? You've got this wonderful product, and how many more do you have in the kind of portfolio, or are you developing that?
In Colombia, we have over 300 SKUs.
300?
Yes, frozen SKUs.
And how many of those are, how do I say, unique enough that you would take the risk of bringing them to another country? All 300?
No, of course not. There are 6 or 7 products that represent 90% of our sales.
Okay.
One of them is Franui, but we do have other 5 or 6 products that are no-brainers to bring to the country.
And Carl, what's your overall impression of the opportunity here for these brands? I mean, retailers are always looking for something different and interesting. So it strikes me as kind of right off the top a pretty
because it's
great proposition.
It's a nice novelty. Even obviously Santi's focused on Colombia, but starting with this Franui product, which is Argentinian from Patagonia. These are all already conveys images in our mind of And the Colombian market, my interest in even making that first trip there, it's a very innovative market. Santi hasn't talked about some of his other ventures that they've been always in the food tech space, but he's been through Y Combinator, which is probably one of the toughest accelerators and so because the Colombian ecosystem is actually pretty impressive.
How did that come about? How did you get into Y Combinator? What's that journey?
It was crazy. I was the CEO of a company called En la U, that means at the campus. It was the same that GoPuff, you just mentioned it.
Okay.
I was the CEO at there, and my partner Mate, he was the CEO of the first dark kitchen in Colombia. But no one talked about dark kitchen at that time. It was in 2016.
Oh, those are early days.
Yes.
Yeah, that's early days.
Well, there were the first dark kitchens in Colombia, but that term didn't exist. It was we had the operation on the campus, so we bought a house near the campus. We renewed it like a big restaurant production facility, and we had 7 brands that delivered from there to the university to our clients. But in 2020, the pandemic started, and all universities were closed 1 month after that. So we started pivoting and finding new ideas, and our idea was, what if we take pre-made products to people's home?
Sure.
Now that they're at
Can't
home.
get out.
Yes. So we did an MVP in 1 week. We launched with a Google form for sales. And we were doing
And an MVP, for the listeners who may not know, minimal viable product, right? Get up, get fast, test it and learn, but make it minimal that it works, it delivers.
Yes, and we
Not
did that
perfect, though.
in 1 week.
In 1 week.
And we were it's been 1 month since we launched. YC was already closed for inscriptions.
Yep. Y Combinator,
yes,
YC,
Combinator. But we decided to apply late, and they called us and they told us, we like what you're thinking. So please offboard your companies if you want to come and dedicate full time to the project. So we got like 1 week to talk with our investors, with our partners, with our co-founders, and we decided to take this new journey with the mission of developing the pre-made food category. It started like a direct-to-consumer marketplace. We partnered with different 30 plus different producers in Colombia, and we started selling their products to our marketplace in a subscription model. But after that, we pivoted to an omni-channel strategy, and we're selling now not only direct-to-consumer, but in multiple places.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Carl, last words to you, and then back to Santiago. So, for the audience, how do we get in touch with you? Who are you?
I think
what's
more
the
important
best way to connect?
I think most importantly is connect with Santi, but I'm happy to connect people to Santi. So LinkedIn is always my place, and
right.
I appreciate being back here. We did this last year in Montreal, with the Monsieur Food Professeur, and thanks for having us back. I really appreciate it.
And Santiago, tell us about, for the listeners, how they get in touch with you and learn more about you, and maybe, who knows, maybe even want to talk about distributing your great products.
Great, thank you. You can look to me to LinkedIn too, Santiago Espinosa.
Okay.
It's Espinosa, Santiago Espinosa.
Okay.
And also you can look to Google to TodosComemos.com.
To do, like TODOS Comemos.
TodosComemos.
Which actually in English means we all eat.
We all eat.
All right.
Yes.
Well, very good. What a great way to wrap the podcast. Thanks so much for visiting. The wonderful treat for Nui. It is a delicious snack, so if you can ever get your hands on it. And you're going to make sure you can get your hands on it.
Yes, we'll make sure of that.
You're going to make sure of that. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me on the Food Professor podcast.
Thanks, Michael.
Treat to meet you both.
Thank you.
Cheers.
If you like what you heard, please follow us on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you can catch up with all our great interviews, including celebrity chef, restaurateur, and entrepreneur, Chuck Hughes. These summer SIAL bonus episodes of the show will be released every Thursday, and be sure to tell all your friends and colleagues in the food service, grocery, and restaurant industry all about us.
I'm Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor, author of 8 books, and senior director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University.
And I'm Michael LeBlanc, consumer retail growth consultant, keynote speaker, and producer and host of a series of retail trade podcasts, including this one. You can learn more about me on LinkedIn. Have a safe summer, everyone.
Bon été tout le monde.